Welcome to the commentary section of Table Wars Competitive. I'm the Loneliest Wolf by choice.
And I am Mystic Filmmancer. Thank you so much for tuning in to our first competitive Table Wars featuring D&D this series. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves. That last one got kind of intense.
Whoa.
They were...
It's really interesting seeing how two separate teams play a very similar dungeon.
The same dungeon, same exact, yeah.
How they go in different ways, the team dynamic, the synergy between the team. There's just so many different things to talk about when it comes to how each team went through this dungeon. Thank you both to Cloak and Dagger of Daytona Beach and Gods and Monsters of Orlando.
Yes, Orlando.
Thank you guys for coming out and being a part of this. We really appreciate you guys very, very much.
Happy anniversary to Gods and Monsters. I know you guys are celebrating today.
There you go. Hi there, guys. Thank you for watching us as well.
So the dynamic, because I talked to the teams, Team Cloak and Dagger, 3 of them have actually been playing together for a while. Caleb was the new guy. I'm thinking that must be why he got taken down by friendly fire, because,
Gotcha.
you know, if it's going to be somebody, it's got to be the new guy, right?
Yeah. Well, I noticed with Team 1, all of the synergy in general was just a little shaky. They did really well with keeping themselves alive.
Yes.
As well as they were a little bit more combat heavy, a lot more aggressive when it came to the encounters that they had, whereas Gods and Monsters were a little bit more passive. They wanted to see if there were ways that they could get past everything without having to really do combat, a little bit more thinking on their feet, a little bit more utility, with the ways that they did things and everything. I thought that was really, really neat in how they did that as well.
Yeah, I really liked Calvin's move when they couldn't block the door. He couldn't find a way to block it,
Right.
because they would have had to come back through. So using the, oh goodness, the vines, made the vines come up.
Yeah, that was actually really, really good. Using your spells in D&D in general is, don't just use them for combat. Also use it for utility. There could be a lot of things you can use your spells for, even combat spells, to do something else besides just attack, which that was really good using Ensnare, I believe it was, to stop the Draugr from coming into the room. Also, we're having our judges right now tallying up the results from both teams playing. Supposedly it's really close.
It's very close. So actually, every episode, we are going to have a poll on Twitter. So head over to Twitter right now at Good Game Network. Vote for who was funnier. And this is actually going to come down to this poll. The scores are so close.
Oh, yeah.
This poll is going to decide the winner, so it's up to you now.
What's the poll?
Oh, so I think we had, was Witty's Puns.
Witty's Puns.
So Witty was aptly named, yes.
A witty bard.
A witty bard.
There you go.
Or, I believe it was XL's line, "Show me the baby face."
Show me the baby face. I don't know, I was really partial, but this wasn't in character, to Pario saying, I'm a bear, I can't talk. That was really, really good. I was like, all right, that's great. What was it? It was actually, I can't say anything. I'm a bear. And I was like, if that was only said in character, that would be great.
Yeah, talking about the role playing, the first team, Cloak and Dagger, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, Emmett, especially towards the end, there was a lot more role playing, and I think Ed did some too, but
Yes.
I did like seeing Gods and Monsters. There was a lot more role playing going on in there.
Well, with the first team, with Cloak and Dagger, you got to see mainly Emmett and Caleb doing the most. They were doing the most of the bantering and the talking. Whereas Ed and Josh were kind of sort of a little bit more reserved. I would like to have seen them do a little bit more talking. But I mean, it still worked out really well in general. I mean, excuse me, I'm incorrect. It was Ed and Emmett doing the most talking. Caleb and Josh were doing a little bit less talking. I would like to see them give a little bit more of their role-playing chops. I would like to see more interaction between the entire party with them. That was a little bit,
I don't know.
I think it could have been a little bit stronger there.
It depends on your character too.
Right.
You know, I play a character who's a woman of few words, and that's just how she is. And sometimes there's got to be a leader in the group that comes out, and they actually Emmett was the one really pushing the story forward, kept everyone going.
Emmett was pushing the story forward. I think Harley, I think there needed to be
damage.
doing a lot more of the damage and stuff like that. was times where they were kind of like pulling in opposite directions too as well, which I think really kind of, though they got through them really well, which
Yes.
I do, I gotta say, I commend them for making it through everything really well, even with that little bit of tug. I think they would have done a little bit better if they would have just worked together a little bit more.
A little bit, yeah, I did feel that.
Harley was being a lot more aggressive too.
Yes.
There were times it was like, oh, do you really want to do that? Don't do that. And he's just like, oh, Eldritch Blast. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, it was, act now,
Yes,
think later.
yes.
Was very Harley's MO. And then in Gods and Monsters, it's they just seemed a lot more tense.
Yes.
Like they were very aware of the time crunch, and you could see Alan going, "Come on, guys, let's keep going, let's move on."
He was doing really well with pushing the story forward. Crunchy or Calvin was doing a lot more of the supporting, which was really, really good. Catherine and XL were a little bit more reserved, but they were still doing role-playing in their own way. When it came to combat, they were doing the damage,
Yes.
where Calvin and Alan were actually doing a lot more of the support. Alan going down, that team took
In the
a
first
bunch
half
of
hour,
damage.
yeah. So speaking of damage, Gods and Monsters definitely took the most.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely took
yeah.
the most. It took to the last half hour, really, for Cloak and Dagger to start taking damage. But in the first half an hour, people were going down in Gods and Monsters.
Oh yeah, their pacing for everything was actually going really, really, really well. In the beginning, Gods and Monsters were like really flying through it. They didn't attack the first jogger they encountered, and they were just on into the next part. And then right after they got into their first combat encounter, then it started to slow down a little bit, and they were kind of like, "Oh man, what do we do?" Whereas Cloak and Dagger, they were kind of like steady with their pacing all the way through, though it was a little bit slower in the beginning. They were kind of just like, "What do we do?" Hemming and hawing, and then just boom, and it's like, "I gotta attack." Eldritch Blast. So I really thought that was really, really good with that. What do you think about how they did when it came to the pacing for them, both Gods and Monsters and Cloak and Dagger?
Like I said, Cloak and Dagger seemed a lot more relaxed when it came to the pacing, and then Gods and Monsters just seemed very aware of it and really kept pushing, which is interesting because they really ended up about the same place.
Oh yeah.
So it didn't really work or not work for anyone's advantage, unless you count that Gods and Monsters took more damage.
I mean, I think it was just due to the pacing. Since they were going a little bit faster and slowed down, it just kind of evened itself out at around the right point for both teams. So that's why it's making it really hard for us to dictate and judge who won. So that's going to be up to you guys.
Do you have a favorite moment?
Oh man, I'm trying to think of how I would have handled certain situations. I love the dog. The dog is a reference.
I was just about to say that.
To the DM's dog, which is really cool. I love Tanky. How would you have handled that? That entire situation? Would you have attacked the dog? Would you have been like,
the
child,
dog?
Hey,
actually,
sometimes
that's one of my favorite moments. Is the dog when Harley cast friend on the dog? Because what else do you do when
smart.
you see a dog? Of course, you pet it. Yeah. You cast friend.
Got to cast friend. I've played in campaigns where certain animals don't aren't what they appear to be. I had a campaign where I was playing with a friend with a cat that was actually a dragon. So I'm a little bit leery when it comes to certain things like that. So it's like, test it out. He looks like he doesn't look like he's gonna attack. He looks like he's gonna more like bark or whatnot to raise awareness that you're in the room. I would have I might have attacked depending on the character I was playing.
Gotcha.
I might have attacked.
Yeah, I actually just finally saw Captain Marvel, so I know what you mean about the cats.
I would have been like, yeah, you might be a little bit of a problem there, pup. I might have to take you out.
All right, again, make sure head over to Twitter and vote. Your vote is going to determine the winner. That's where it's come down to right now. So we'll be back in 5 minutes with the results.